Step into a world of faith and enlightenment with Path of Faith, where we explore the challenges and triumphs of the human spirit through the lens of religious teachings and divine guidance.
I don't get kiss from hand, as it is commonly said when things are very easy. God gave us freedom as a gift. I bring inside me, you bring you, we all receive. Now being free is something else. It's like having a plant that needs to grow through the care we have with it. When you irrigate, when you fertilize, so that all that potential in the seed will develop, and that seed can become the tree that potentially exists inside. The same thing is freedom. Being able to say today I am is you assume that you are in a process of liberating your own freedom, because only those who are offered can only freely try it. This freedom is perhaps what delights me most in my life, because sometimes I see myself a prisoner of such childish feelings, jealousy, comparison. More and more the movement of life leading me to understand from my experience and the experience of seeing those who live by my side, that true God's experience positions us in a context of maturity that delivers us from all the weights and the bonds that infantilism puts us. Yeah. And sometimes we don't understand that from low realities. So, they are really exercises. It is a spiritual exercise. Raising the bridge of the inner castle and okay, let's know what these are so called that inhabit me, right? That often are love instead of protecting. It unprotects, because it infantilizes. It is often marked. Because of a reality in love, it's just like the person who is in love. She can't see reality. A mind in love, a mind that is very involved with another person who has just arrived, is a danger. It is a danger to make wrong decisions. The blind passion. I always like this differentiation, right? Passion is the anteroom of love. We can only say that we love after having erased all the fireworks of passion, because they are dangerous, and the right not to like it. Fabio, we have the right not to like it. Liking is one thing, loving is another. I can sympathize with you deeply. We have a delicious connection, but I am not obliged to love you because I did not choose to love you. Loving is a choice, and sometimes in our daily lives we don't know this difference. And you don't even give the right to like someone. If so, and so is almost dying there and needs my help. I go there. I am a Christian. I serve Christ. But I don't need to eat popcorn for the cinema with the person. Of course, you have a limit that you can set. Yes, a affection. Love holds respect. This is what you are saying. I will not hurt you. I will not boycott you. But on the other hand, I do not have an obligation to live, to establish this daily bond, to change the phone. And sometimes people confuse a lot. They are very... It's an immaturity, really, in understanding Christianity. Wow. How many times have I suffered from these immaturities? I've been immature so much. Sometimes I meet people absolutely on the fringes of Christian experience, still based on obligations, suffocated by the obligations that happen to be within Christianity. And sometimes I find some people so free, but so free. They have already found, it seems to me, the deepest of Christianity. You talked about these steps that we need to dive to get to what is most indomitable in us. And Christianity is a movement precisely that goes through this achievement of what is indomitable, and then you live the freedom to be who you are. Discipline is today's word. We are increasingly plunged into a context that clears us from discipline, and this is very sad. It is very sad when we identify that our children are getting strangers. They are getting strange to any kind of sacrifice. Because life has to be like this. Life, we have to make it easier. Okay, the facilities of today, they are very good. But they cannot remove from us the opportunity to live the asya and the discipline that makes every man. Every woman finds this balance, this maturity. How today's world encourages us out all the time. As inner life has been difficult, right? Nowadays, it is a costly job. My therapist always said, we think that inner life comes for free. Come, I was born, so I already have everything internally installed, right? It's like I have several programs to run. But I need to understand how they work. And really, stop talking or being away from people is not alone. It is not yet silent inside. Sometimes we think we have no dominion over thought. Thought needs to be educated at a high level. We need to raise the level of thought with good content. Oh, my head is full of bullshit. If for intellectual life you need to educate thought through concentration, spiritual life is no different, right? It's just that sometimes we pray asking God, and in fact we need to live that reality of superior, dominates, and inferior. So I have my instincts there, my emotions, my feelings that are already more aware, my thoughts, my wills, that are the decisions based on my thinking. And here comes the spirit. I can even put here will and thought. There is no one or anything that can enslave a mindset from someone who really wants to be free. It's the same in that movie, The Dream of Freedom, when that man spent so many days in the lonely, stuck there. When he left there, they asked him, "How did you stand up to stay there?" He said, "It was quiet. I heard music all the time." Then the other said, "But how? There is no music there. They are all in my head. Is here? It is in the head that we are released. This is why this is where God happens. When God enters my mindset, when God changes my way of looking at me, my way of looking at the world, He will naturally change my way of looking at those next to me. He will change the way as I look at my restrictions, my losses. And then another destination is not to be sought, to be conquered, to be experienced except satisfaction. Despite so many difficulties, we can smile and say, life is worth it, because my head is helping me to make it worth it. Father Fabio, because it is so much easier to hurt the people we love than to embrace them and say affectionate things. It is because, in fact, human aggression is an undeniable thing. Everyone has aggressiveness, even Swedes, those who speak so calmly, they are full of aggressiveness. Some control more, others control less. Some control too much and suddenly explodes, because aggressiveness is a very positive impulse. We can't find that aggressiveness is a bad thing alone. No, aggressiveness is an impulse that makes us even overcome in life. In many moments of our lives, we lost because we lack aggression, which is that impulse to want to go on, to win, to handle the difficulties that are part of us. Very soft people. Nothing is good. It improves one day. The other day is not good again. Aggressiveness is lacking for these people. Positive aggressiveness, which is this impulse of survival that we inherited. This is ancestral in us. Many times we discount on the people we love. It is precisely because of our unpreparedness to deal with this aggressiveness. And today we know, we say this here before we finish the first block. We are living in a time of great tension. We are too much required. Because we have many possibilities, the human being ends up losing himself in the midst of this lot of possibilities. And it ends up generating a great anxiety, which is the feeling of not being reaching, not living what would need to live. And it is natural that, at one point, this aggressiveness we will judge who is closest to us. Because you can't be... A very simple example, sometimes the guy works there, is crazy to slap his boss. Can't. He will come home, stressed with everything he has lived. The poor family who will receive lead. And that's where the question of our control comes in, my people. Us, you need to control this aggressiveness a little. And I'm not saying something I don't need to listen to, see? Because I'm often uncontrolled with my aggressive ones. So I need to be very careful not to make my aggressiveness come at the wrong time, the wrong way. I need to judge my aggressiveness there in my books, in my reflections, in my physical activity that I make a point of doing. There I need to judge my aggressiveness so that I can afford to give the right treatment to people. I can't unload on my mother the wraths that I bring inside me, which are proper to my being. And you've seen that. How difficult the mother-child relationship is. Because it is where these aggressive ones get too much on the skin. Perhaps because it is the narrowest bond we have, with all due respect to the father. The narrower bond I think we have in life is with our mother. And it is natural that our greatest difficulty is with it also. It is very common for you to find children who have a hatred by their mother, a hatred by their father, and have no psychological conditions to assume this aversion. Because in the name of this romantic love that we are educated, which son can never oppose his mother? What a son can never say that I hate you. This is natural that at some point in life, our aggressiveness make us experience this hatred for the people we love the most, because hatred is the reverse of love. It's the same thing. Psychology teaches us that love and hatred are born of the same impulse, from the same source. So managing this aggressiveness these days is a necessity, because you have often seen this happen, that sometimes one person is able to get one gun and kill the other in traffic because of intolerance. So we don't have to kill each other, so we don't slap each other. We need to find out where we can channel this blessed aggression in a right way, in a positive way. If you have a lot of aggressiveness in you, put this aggressiveness to work to your advantage. Your creative, dynamic process, your entrepreneurial spirit, channels there. This is not magical. It is not overnight, but my own conscience. I know that I am aggressive, so I need to be careful that my aggressiveness will not kill others. I particularly ask for goodbye at this time of Lent, me giving silence, he knows. And it's not just speech, it's the silence of the written word that need for you to give the other immediately. To everything that makes you upset, everything you think is invasive. I want to have the right to be silent. I don't want to have to give explanations all the time. It is right that we need to preserve. Indoors. Sometimes. That's how it is. Sometimes in the relationship, how many times you are charged by the other. You have the right to be silent. You have the right to make your silence. And the other has to understand that your silence may be the moment you are taken care of, not saying what you would not like to say. So the control of this aggressiveness these days, he needs to go through this experience of inner life. As we speak here in the previous block, inner life, this experience of cultivating who you are. I particularly think it must be very difficult to live in a house very full of people, where you don't have the right to your personal silence. It is not difficult. You who live with a lot of people indoors. At home, there are the people who work with me, but I am very preserved. By the time I want my silence, I don't even make a point of being polite. Look guys, I'm going. I retire because I care about this spiritual life. This inner life. Because otherwise I get worse than I am already. And I don't want to be worse than I am. I don't want to get worse. I don't want to move back. I want to advance forward. So I want to find out everything that in my behavior, that in my choices, come favor my advance. The same thing you need to do. It's your right, boy, but here at home it's hard. Creates your space, creates your routine. Find out a way for you to have this cultivation of inner life. There are people who are legend the gospel of the day. I find the gospel of the day a great way for you to create inner life. Because when you get to read the gospel of the day, that you have the daily liturgy, you can follow even through the Bible. You read the gospel and make its reflection, its moment of silence, which will help a lot in control this aggressiveness. Then there are the other things that help too. Physical activity, as we have already spoken, the prayer group, the sharing group, the reading. My God, like a book calms ourselves. The book is fantastic. Happy from the human being who has learned from childhood the pleasure of reading. It will be a much quieter older than the one who doesn't like to read, because it will occupy the time, right? When you get old, what are you going to do? In old age, We will have a lot more time because you will stop working, you will be retired. And I don't see the time. You won't be in the rush anymore. So you will have to have all the time in the world for you to cultivate yourself. Look how wonderful. You have a timeless time for this inner life, for you to make your routine in a way that favors channeling all these impulses that are positive, as is aggressiveness. But that is placed in the wrong way. It turns out to be an instrumental of destruction.
Thank you for joining us today at Path of Faith. Your engagement means the world to us. So please take a moment to leave your comments, like this video, share it with friends and family, and subscribe for more enriching content.